Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, so great, baby. All right, should I read the card?
Let's read this card. Let's see what we got today.
Ooh. What has COVID-19 and quarantine taught you about us?
Okay. What has quarantine taught me and us about us? I think we should look back at what we've been through in quarantine, like where we were. Nobody could predict this last year. And I think we should just do a little like where we were and how we navigated it, and that'll bring us to what we've learned.
Okay.
So, April, me and you were both preparing, March actually, we were both preparing for our festival. So for the people that are listening, we had a wellness festival called Reset that takes place the day after Coachella. And basically a ton of brands come for a big recovery day. We had been planning that for 6 months. And we had to cancel it because obviously nobody was doing in-person events. And so once Coachella got canceled, we had to essentially just like put that on the shelf and be like, what can we do now? And that will be beneficial for us now that we can't do anything in person.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that comes to mind with that is like adaptability. Like me and you had to really adapt as everybody did. But I think what it's taught me about us is just how adaptable we can be if we put our mind to it. Like we really went in another direction hard.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's do this. We both went into our personal endeavors very heavily. You went and started doing more of YouTube, and I went and started doing more of Triple Deek. And I think that like the way that we were able to navigate that with the flexibility was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, like you said, a lot of people can relate. We had a loss earlier this year, which was losing Reset, our baby at the time. And so we had to go through, I think something that I saw in us, which was really great, is we had to adapt, and we also had to figure out plan B really quick, like a lot of people did, and also be there for each other emotionally, because I think you and I were going through a lot of different emotions. I feel like I kind of went so focused on my thing since Reset wasn't my main focus anymore. And I feel like we went through so many things of understanding trials of maybe me being on a high and you being on a low, and me having to meet you there. So I feel like it was really great to see us get through that.
Yeah, I think like the thing that was really hard for me is I'm such a people person, and I love being around people so much. And when we were doing Reset, we had our team that was around, and we had our house is always this like communal area where it's always an open door. We always have people that are revolving through and coming and working out of the house or training at the house. And with COVID, that just like stopped immediately. And so like we went from seeing a handful of people every day to seeing minimal people or seeing nobody.
You and my parents.
Exactly. And so that like adjustment for me was super challenging, and still is, like, you know, with us when we go through periods where we don't see people. Like I love people so much that it's hard for me not to see a lot of people consistently, and us getting through that also goes back into like the adaptability. And I think what would probably be beneficial for people to hear is like, why do we feel we are so good at adaptability? Because if we like look back right now, even just like thinking about it right now, we're pretty good at it. Apologies. We're pretty good at adapting. And there's reasons for that maybe me and you haven't like fully comprehended. And I wonder what it is. And I think first and foremost is we're both really driven. Like I think immediately when you have kind of that go-getter mindset, or like that almost like entrepreneur or like go-getter mentality. When something falls, you're always able to see the silver lining and be optimistic and find solutions.
Yeah.
We're really solution oriented. And so when COVID happened and it's like, cool, now there's nothing that can happen that's in person. What can we do? Where is everybody that's going in person going to? And for us, it was like, everybody's going to be online.
Yeah.
Everybody's going online right now. So we need to spend more time online. And that was the things like YouTube and TikTok and all of that.
Right. We were innovative at that time which I thought was really cool. Seeing something that we do really well or see in us is also innovate during the time where we were like, we need to figure something else out. And we did it. And I think also it really got us through the highs and lows of quarantine is communication.
Yeah, that was my second thing I was going to say.
Yeah, I think the communication is just key, because I think when you were going through highs, I was going through, it was vice versa. We had to meet that person there by communicating and stopping what we're doing.
Totally.
And give each other that time. So I feel like our communication took another level, which was really cool.
It's crazy how in these handful of talks that we've had in here, communication is brought up so much because it is just so important. And like, just, it's the like oil that keeps the gears moving for the machine of us, is like us being able to sit and have conversations like this. That might not be fun.
Yeah.
It might be like, hey, I really feel like, you are doing this and I'm upset about it. Like we had a lot of talks of that where I was like, I just feel really frustrated that all of my team's gone that I was doing with Reset, and now I feel kind of lonely that I don't have a team.
Yeah.
And those talks that like might not be super fun to have, but like when we leave that talk, we're like, hell yeah, we had we came out of that with like something that really pushed us forward, and now we feel better and we feel closer.
Right.
And we can do this together.
Right, because I feel like the biggest thing I feel like you have shown me in this as well is you remind me that we're in a pandemic. So when I would be going through a lot of emotions, you would be like, it's okay. Like, you should be having emotions.
Totally.
Every day is kind of, I remember in the beginning, there was fear. There were so many like really dark emotions that you were like, that's okay. And I think that was really amazing too, to see you show up, of supporting me and vice versa, I hope, of feeling secure of like, the world's kind of different right now, and this is our new normal, but don't let it, it's okay to feel uncomfortable.
I think that that's a really good segue into like another thing that I feel we really have learned a lot about ourselves, especially through the last 8-9 months of the pandemic, is self-care, taking care of each other, and also like bringing your best to your community, even though it's over the phone. Like we've always been into wellness and training and fitness. That's not something that's like new to us. But as soon as the quarantine started, we had to go into overdrive with that.
Yeah.
Like when there's just so much that's going on and there's so much uncertainty and there's so much, you don't know what the next day is. And if you turn on the news, it's super like scary you just don't know what's going on. And for us being able to be like, cool, what does my body need right now? What does my partner need right now? What does my community need right now? And like going into that drive of like, I can do this, what do I need? And like actually taking that action is something that I feel was probably even more beneficial than we even realized. Yeah,
I agree. I think besides us, the world, I think, is focusing on their mental, physical, social health. And I mean, I think that's something we continuously work on. And I think it is so amazing that I think the big part of the world is focusing on that now.
Yeah, it's interesting that that's taught us about us. Just thinking about it right now is just how many other people are in need of learning how to take care of themselves. And like the work that me and you have been doing for the past year, 2 years, 3 years prior to that was like almost when the pandemic started was like, this is when it's needed the most for other people and for ourselves. Yeah. Of like now all of the stuff that you practiced from prior to is all being like implemented in right now with how can you take care of yourself when every day is stressful or is unpredictable or you're not in your routine. Geez, think about how many people's routines of me and you are homebodies. We have done the at-home thing for a while, couple years.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in a routine of going to an office, seeing a ton of people at the office, leaving the office, going to a public gym, leaving the public gym, going to get drinks or dinner, like, and just being out in public so much more that when that's all switched, it's super important for you to take care of yourselves physically and mentally.
I agree.
And I think that our practice has helped our group of friends and family in being like, yo, we've done this. Here's how we can help. Try and do these, like your at-home workouts that your family's been doing and stuff have been amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking too, another thing back kind of on being innovative that I think the world has, but really focused on us that we have done is seeing when we're put in a tough situation or seeing when we're kind of not in control anymore. You coming to me with the idea of Honey House is very out of my comfort zone of living in a house with other people because I am very, I would say more alone is my vibe. And it was a moment for me to grow and sacrifice learning more about myself and understanding and me jumping in, and it feels amazing. So I feel like quarantine has also taught me that to get out of my comfort zone and almost that I limit myself to my standards, and kind of when you are limitless, I mean, there's so much beauty that has come out of the situation. So that's taught a lot about me in quarantine.
Yeah, I think that's like the same note of finding the silver lining and being open to searching for the positives, because it was so different for you to be like, oh, I'm going to go live in a house. And it was different for me to even do it again with 10 other people, adults, all working in a period of time where the world is so crazy and hectic, but you were open to it. And out of that, there's been so many good things that have come. And for me as well, of being like with Reset being on the shelf, being like, what's next? And then getting the call from Nick and being like, we should do this project of Honey House, being like, whoa, is this something we want to do? Be in a house with a ton of people during this time in the world, and then like jumping into it. And there's been so much good that's come out of it now that I think the moral of all of that is when things don't go your way, there always is solutions. And if you're open to them, and if you're open to like what your life and your day-to-day is showing you, then you can find the positive.
I love that. I agree.
Good work.
Good work.